What is a soul? It is a condensed energy container that every living creature possesses. Not only humans and animals, but also plants and, of course, water. This container has many layers, and it holds all the experiences, knowledge, intentions, and it is closely intertwined with the containers of other living organisms. Every soul, as you all call it, is an intelligent database capable of self-regulation and self-balancing. A soul is eternal and will expand itself until it reaches the levels of evolution where it wishes to stay. So, is it essentially the same as the Akashic Records which Edgar Cayce told us about? No, not quite. The Akashic Records are a global database where there is a slot for every individual soul's information integrated with the planetary data. You can access a person's lives and experiences through the Akashic Records if your soul is allowed to do so. But ordinarily, every person is allowed to access their own section of the Akashic Records, or easier said, your own soul experiences. Since every living creature, particularly a human, has an inseparable connection with their own soul, everything you wish to know or sense is already there for you at any time. In fact, you draw most of your inner wisdom from your soul. How are you, my higher self, Nam, and my soul different? We are mostly the same thing, but with some differences. You and I share the same soul. In essence, you and I are the same. I do, however, have more experiences, I've evolved further, and therefore my portion of the soul is much more expanded than yours. Although it's impossible to separate our souls based on your experience and mine, there are levels that everyone can access within their own soul. Can I accidentally access a more advanced portion or section of my soul? Accidentally? Never. However, the energy of the soul is integrated, and you might be able to get glimpses into your future self through your soul, but it can only happen when you are ready for it. Some humans are connected to the soul very intensely and might sense many aspects of it beyond the current incarnation. There can be certain visions or sensations that don't make sense per se, but it will be useful for the person's spiritual advancement. Does that make sense? How and when does the soul disconnect from the person and the body? Does it depart when the heart stops, when the person can't breathe, or does it happen later? What happens to the soul when it disconnects from the person? And another, maybe a bit bizarre question. Does the soul only belong to one body, one human at a time, or can it be shared with many at the same time? The soul typically is only shared with one earthly being at a time. However, the soul is not fully residing with a person. A large portion of its energetic potential stays in the higher dimensions. Again, technically speaking, the control center is in the cloud, and only a local instance is on Earth. Percent-wise, typically no more than 30% of the soul's potential belongs to the living body. The rest of it stays with the soul family, a large collective integrated and amplifying each other by merging soul energy together. When the body dies and loses the ability to continue its biological journey, the soul simply joins its larger portion and becomes once again integrated with its soul family. The souls in the family are closely connected and operate on the same dominating frequency and have a collective goal for evolution. It is like coming home, for a reason. The actual moment of the separation depends on the will of the deceased. Some want to leave immediately, while others prefer to linger in their former environment and with people for a bit, or even a long time. The portion that can be attached to the previous life cannot be larger than the original, but generally, it is a small sliver of it. That portion is often called a spirit or a ghost. Sooner or later, it will return to its entirety and unite with its soul family. Some religions believe that it takes 3, 9, and 40 days to fully disconnect, but it is not typically the case. It is a very individual process. The energy is initially very strong and can penetrate the minds of humans through dreams and the electromagnetic field. That's why there are some unexplained electrical issues right after somebody dies. You mentioned the life force, and since the soul is basically the life force, what is the function of chakras in the context of the soul? Is there a connection? Yes, indeed. Perhaps we are talking about a bit of a larger picture than initially thought, but perhaps it is a good time to talk about chakras and what they really are. It is a beautiful recent interest in the concept of chakras and Kundalini, especially in the Western world. Yoga, the exotic and often misunderstood art of body contortions, became a household name within the last few decades. It is very empowering, and global energy levels shifted substantially thanks to such interest and attention. Chakras are often understood to be energy centers within the body. 7 is the commonly accepted number. It is not quite true. The real meaning of the chakra is in its original word, which means a wheel. Perhaps you have heard the expression, a wheel within a wheel. Well, that is what chakras are. Imagine a cone, a funnel, where there is a narrow end at the bottom which gets wider as it goes up. Now imagine 7 levels or rings that go from the bottom, narrow red up, to the highest and widest in diameter purple. Of course, I am giving you a more primitive model, but it is important to picture your body, your energy force, and your chakras correctly. There is great potential in your chakras, and they are all there for you to access as you please. Collectively, however, you are still comfortably activated in the yellow solar plexus chakra, as you would call it, and now moving towards activation of the green heart chakra. Such activation is a slow process, but it progresses at its own pace, and you individually, as well as collectively, will witness the results of such activation. I understand that, but what are chakras and why do we need them? Can't the soul just give us the energy we need, record us as we go, and that's it? There are many functions of the chakras. It is a very complex concept, and we will need to discuss it in chunks as it can get confusing. For starters, the body of energy is a current, not a statically positioned energy container. Just as a generator needs a source of energy to generate power, so does the human body, which is basically a self-generating system. Energy is produced by movement, particularly by contracting and expanding, by inhaling and exhaling. In the body, such contractions create the necessary movement, which then activates the energy sources, and energy starts to flow through the entire body. However, it is not a standalone device. You can generate a sturdy level of energy locally in your body, but for greater energy, you need an extra charge. Remember that the soul's energy never resides entirely with the person. Only a fraction of it does. So that is where the rest of it comes from the unified cloud, so to speak, which is an enormously powerful energy source. To reach your local energy receiver, you need specific ports. That's what chakras are. The source energy will be provided to every chakra that is open to receive, but there are far more than 7 such receivers. For the sake of this conversation, let's focus on those 7. So the soul acts more like a source, and the chakras are like body receivers of the soul's energy, right? Yes, that is a good way to put it. Chakras are like stations on a train journey. I am giving you a linear comparison. You can use the station to eat, take care of your needs, and then you are back on your train to continue your journey. You must, however, be open to getting out and be open to receiving your goods at such stations. If you don't take the opportunity to activate your receivers, you will always run on the recycled energy originated at birth. Nothing more. Imagine drinking the same water over and over, even if filtered and purified, still the same amount and the same quality of the water for years. Oh, right? The more your chakras are open and activated to receive the energy from the collective cloud, the more energized and fuller of life you will become. Quite irrelevant to what you eat and how much you sleep. It is, of course, helpful, but it's not what gives you the real energy for living. How far can the energy of the chakra go? You mentioned the red is the narrowest and the purple is the widest. What are the diameters we are talking about? It all depends on how well your chakras are functioning. If you are, theoretically speaking, fully activated in your chakras, which no human currently can do, it could envelop your entire planet and go beyond that. There is no limit to how much energy can be given to you. The only limit is how much of it you are capable of receiving. Your receiving centers are often completely blocked or function at the lowest capacity. That's why there is a constant lack of energy. You use stimulants of any kind, like coffee and energy drinks, while the most available and free energy of the purest kind is just waiting for you to accept it. Meditate to receive and open yourself to that. Your energy is unlimited. Claim it. Can the soul recall a particular past life in detail on my demand? Since it records them all, it should be doable, right? It can be easily accessed, yes. If you unblock your receptors, you most likely can travel to your past lives and experiences, even to the future if you like. Most of you can do this through hypnosis or regression. You can do this with the help of another as an additional activator or by yourself. I have done a few, and I will be happy to share with all of you what I found out, but perhaps a bit later in the series of these books. It is truly an enlightening experience to recall your other lives and even experiences between lives. But I still have more questions for Nam. Is there a maximum age for a soul? Can it reach its limits and run out of storage, RAM, etc.? No, there are no limitations for the soul. Even being as old as I am, compared to you, our soul is far from maxing out. It expands itself as it evolves. It integrates with other souls and clusters of souls to function more efficiently and self-regulate. Well, nice to know. What is self-regulation for the soul? It is an inner programming, if you will. The energy of the soul is always attuned to the higher dimensions of itself. So it is as much here with you as it is in its highest potential, realized all at the same time. The concept of karma, by the way, is the self-regulation of the soul. Since the soul is individual yet collective, past yet future, it knows how to balance out its own deficiencies and imbalances by seeking experiences which hold the most potential for self-regulation and self-realization. It's like a scanner, constantly monitoring its own progress and filling up the gaps as needed. Each soul has its own unique configuration, of course, and that is why we all seek something different, and no two souls are created equal, as you can conclude. I am sorry to repeat myself, but the soul is where all the memories about us are stored, not in our brain or body. What about our personality traits, habits, people we loved, etc.? Does it propagate from a lifetime to a lifetime with us? Nam, personality traits can propagate to the nearest life from the one before if it serves the purpose of the soul's evolution. If there is no use for it, you will not be able to bring it forward with you. I have heard that some people can recall their previous incarnations and even have the same tastes in food and sleeping habits, for instance. Is it intentional then? Does it serve a purpose, or do we simply continue where we left off? We don't simply continue. We do that intentionally. Perhaps someone's life ended abruptly, and the intended experience was not fulfilled. Then, of course, continuation makes sense. Every lifetime is a consciously pre-planned experience. It is individually tailored, although sometimes affected by global events like wars or disasters, but not by accident or a coincidence. What is the best way for me to get in touch with my soul? How can I invite more soulful energy into my life? Nam, be open, be honest and true to yourself, and don't fake anything. Don't try to fit into the imaginary box of being a good girl or a good human, or trying to fit into your generational values. You only benefit from your life circumstances when you invite them into your life openly and honestly. Do what you can, being the real you in the context of your life. Your soul always holds your best interests. Listen to it. Stay with it. Rest in it. Trust it. Have fun with it. One last question. What about my knowledge, my intellect, my skills? Are they also stored in the soul? Or is it something I must start from scratch every lifetime? Knowledge as a set of facts is useless in the grand scheme. What was knowledge in medieval times now serves no purpose. Facts expire very quickly and are replaced with other facts. That information, although recorded in the soul, is not essential. However, intellectual achievements such as learning certain universal laws and excelling in certain skills will propagate through your soul to your subsequent lifetimes. For instance, you might have been a healer in ancient Egypt. You might have excelled in learning how certain herbs and substances can heal diseases and how a human body can benefit from such knowledge. This skill will most likely be used again if you wish. Perhaps you can become a doctor in your modern era and use your healing skills for the greater good. If you have been a musician, poet, architect, or chemist, you will most likely use that ability again. In such cases, your tendencies will develop very fast, as you simply recall them and not learn as new. Mozart, for instance, was a musician and composer for many lifetimes prior to becoming Mozart, as you know him. Being talented from an early age was simply his natural inclinations, and he chose to use them in the context of his life as Mozart. I hope my point is clear. What are your thoughts on the subject? Please comment below. Support us by liking and sharing this video as well as subscribing to the channel. The book is available on Amazon and Audibles titled Unlimited Wisdom and Power of Your Higher Self. Create the Life You Want by Evie Sky. Thank you for watching.